Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today's story has taken the internet by storm, a recently leaked CCTV video that's reportedly connected to the tragic case of actor Yu Menglong. This footage, allegedly recorded just hours before the heartbreaking incident, has shocked fans around the world and raised countless questions about what really happened that night. The video, which surfaced online earlier this week, is dated September 11th, 2025, and appears to have been captured in a building located in Tenselm. It shows a man carrying someone who looks very much like Yu Menglong into what seems to be a sleek modern facility. The hallway lights are dim, giving the footage an unsettling tone. And what's even more concerning is that Yu looks weak, almost lifeless, as he's being carried inside. Many viewers who've seen the clip are convinced that something went seriously wrong that evening. According to online discussions, this scene allegedly took place right after a private gathering Yu attended with a few close acquaintances. Among those present was Song Yun, a longtime friend of the actor, who, according to reports, had invited Yu to the event. Now, the circulating claims suggest that not long after the party started, Yu began feeling unwell, dizzy, unsteady, and visibly disoriented. Several people who claim to have been there recall him stumbling and looking pale, which has led to speculation that something may have been slipped into his drink without his knowledge. Music swells slightly, then fades. That's where things start to take a darker turn. The footage that's now spreading rapidly online and reportedly being examined by authorities might be one of the last known moments of Yu Menglong before the tragedy. Some people online believe the man in the video was simply helping Yu because he had fallen ill, while others think the scene could point to something far more sinister. And just when fans thought things couldn't get more disturbing, the case took another grim twist. The official autopsy results were released not long after, and they revealed shocking details that no one was prepared for. According to forensic investigators, Yu had suffered severe physical trauma before his death. The report even described evidence of repeated assaults, suggesting that multiple people were involved. Authorities have gone on record saying that signs point to the involvement of as many as 20 individuals, a revelation that has left the public stunned and outraged. The idea that such a horrific attack could have taken place has turned this from a tragic accident into what many are now calling one of the most disturbing scandals in recent memory. Pause for dramatic emphasis, music softens. As soon as the report went public, social media exploded. Fans from across the globe expressed heartbreak, disbelief, and fury. Hashtags calling for justice for Yu Menglong began trending almost instantly, with millions of posts demanding transparency and accountability from everyone connected to the case. Many users are urging law enforcement to uncover the full truth and ensure that those responsible are held to account. But that's not all. Fans have started revisiting some of Yu's past content, especially his final live stream, and what they've found has made the story even more chilling. In that last broadcast, Yu appeared calm, at first interacting gently with his followers as he often did. But when viewers replayed the video closely, they noticed something they hadn't caught before. At one quiet moment, Yu can be heard softly saying, "Help me." Music builds slowly eerie atmosphere. At first, this whisper went completely unnoticed. The background music and chatter drowned it out. But once fans pointed it out, thousands went back to rewatch the stream, and there it was, faint but unmistakable. Not long after Yu's plea, a woman's voice can be heard off camera saying, "Cut the video." That moment has now become one of the most discussed clips on social media, leaving countless fans shaken and emotional. Some believe that this was a cry for help hidden in plain sight, a glimpse into what Yu might have been enduring privately before the tragedy occurred. Others argue it could have been taken out of context. Still, the uncertainty and tension surrounding that short clip have only added to the emotional weight of this entire situation. Since then, speculation about who was with you that night has grown even stronger. Online forums, fan groups, and news outlets have all been buzzing with theories. Some names keep popping up repeatedly, including Song Yun, the same friend who reportedly invited you to the gathering. There's no concrete proof connecting anyone directly yet, but the public's curiosity and frustration continue to grow by the day. Music Fade's voice softens. One thing is undeniable. Yu Menglong's final live appearance has left a deep mark on his fans. The combination of that haunting whisper, the mysterious background voice, and the later revelations about what happened to him has made this one of the most emotional cases the entertainment world has seen in years. For many, those few words help me have become symbolic. They represent not just Yu's pain, but also the silent struggles that so many people, even celebrities, endure behind their smiles and success. It's a reminder that we never really know what someone is going through, no matter how perfect their life may seem on the surface. Fans from all around the world have shared heartfelt tributes, lighting candles, organizing online vigils, and posting messages filled with grief and anger. Some say they still can't watch that final live stream without tearing up. Others have taken to using Yu's story as a call to raise awareness about the darker pressures of fame, the isolation, the hidden pain, and the people who may take advantage of it. Soft background piano plays. At this point, the investigation is ongoing. Authorities have not confirmed or denied the authenticity of the viral footage, but they've stated that they are reviewing all available evidence, including surveillance videos, the digital communications, and statements from those who attended the gathering that night. Meanwhile, journalists and online sleuths continue to dig deeper, trying to piece together a timeline of events leading up to Yu's final hours. Whether or not the CCTV clip turns out to be legitimate, the emotions it stirred up are very real. The public wants answers, fans want closure, and above all, they want justice not just for Yu Menglong, but for anyone who has suffered silently in similar circumstances. As one fan wrote in a viral comment, he didn't deserve this. No one does. Music swells softly again, though fade out, and that sentiment has become the heart of this story. What happened to Yu Menglong has become bigger than one tragic event. It's now a reflection of how society reacts to the suffering of those we admire. His story continues to resonate, deeply reminding people everywhere that compassion and awareness are more important than ever. Music ends slowly. To be continued. After the release of the CCTV video and the shocking autopsy findings, the story surrounding Yu Menglong's final hours became the center of intense media coverage. News outlets, social platforms, and even mainstream TV networks began running constant updates, each adding more fuel to the fire. The mystery was no longer just about what happened, it was about who was responsible and why things spiraled so terribly out of control. Soon after the footage went viral, investigators confirmed they were working to authenticate it. They traced the timestamp, cross-referenced the camera angle, and began reviewing surveillance logs from nearby locations. According to sources close to the investigation, the building seen in the video was part of a luxury complex frequently rented out for private events by high-profile guests. That detail alone added a new layer of suspicion. If this was indeed the place where Yu was last seen, it meant someone powerful might be trying to cover up the truth. Music deepens slightly. Meanwhile, online communities started doing their own detective work. Fans began analyzing every frame of the leaked footage, slowing it down, enhancing brightness, and comparing the man's clothing to what Yu's acquaintances had worn in past photos. Within hours, internet sleuths identified at least one person they claimed resembled SHIQI, another actor, and one of Yu's long-time industry colleagues. This discovery sent social media into chaos. Comments flooded in accusing Fan of being involved, while others begged people not to jump to conclusions until there was verified evidence. Fan SHIQI's studio was quick to respond. In a brief statement released through social media, they denied any connection to the case, calling the circulating rumors groundless and harmful. However, many netizens weren't convinced. The timing, the similarities in build and appearance, and the fact that Fan and Yu had once been seen attending events together only deepened the public's suspicions. And so the internet became divided, one side calling for restraint and due process, the other demanding immediate accountability. Pause music softens, but perhaps the most heartbreaking part of this entire saga was how Yu's family handled the news. His parents, who had stayed quiet since his passing, finally broke their silence in an emotional statement. Through their lawyer, they said, "We ask for privacy as we work with authorities. Our son's life deserves truth, not rumors." That single sentence resonated deeply with fans. It reminded everyone that behind the headlines and the trending hashtags was a grieving family still trying to make sense of their loss. Around the same time, police released a short briefing confirming they were looking into multiple individuals connected to the gathering. They didn't name anyone publicly, but leaks from inside sources hinted that both Songyan and Fan SHIQI were on the preliminary list of persons of interest. The authorities stressed that these were routine inquiries, but the public was already ahead of them, drawing connections, dissecting interviews, and flooding social media with theories. Music changes tone more investigative. As public outrage grew, so did the calls for transparency. Many fans began organizing online petitions demanding that CCTV footage from the entire evening be released in full. Others began collecting evidence themselves, screenshots, chat logs, even snippets from fan meetups where Yu allegedly hinted at being under stress. Some claimed that Yu had been isolated from certain friends and management figures in the weeks leading up to his death. One of the most shared posts came from a former staff member who worked with Yu during his last project. They wrote, "He was quieter than usual." Something was weighing on him. The situation escalated even further when another video surfaced. This time, a short clip from a security camera in a nearby parking garage. It showed several men leaving the same venue roughly an hour after Yu was carried inside. While their faces weren't entirely visible, one appeared to be wearing the same jacket seen earlier in Yu's last known footage. The clip was blurry, grainy, but enough to ignite another storm of speculation online. Within 24 hours, hashtags like "justice" for Yu Menglong and "huarki is the truth dominated social platforms across China and beyond. The case became an international topic, with global media outlets picking up the story and translating it into multiple languages. Music fades slightly, voice softens. But amidst all the chaos, there were still those who wanted to focus on Yu's memory. Fans started hosting virtual vigils, posting art videos, and personal stories about how the actor had inspired them. Yu wasn't just a celebrity to them, he was someone who had made them laugh, cry, and feel connected through his performances. In these moments of mourning, fans often said they felt as though they had lost a friend. At the same time, journalists began piecing together Yu's final days. Based on call logs and text messages, it seemed that he had received an invitation to the private event from Songyan just 2 days before. Friends described Yu as hesitant about going, but not wanting to seem distant. He was reportedly in good spirits before the event, even discussing plans for a new project he had hoped to announce later that month. That's what makes this tragedy so painful for so many, the idea that someone full of life and potential could meet such a dark and violent end. Soft piano enters. As the investigation continued, more shocking details began to emerge from the forensic report. According to insiders who reviewed the documentation, Yu's injuries weren't consistent with a simple accident. There were multiple contusions, fractures, and defensive wounds, suggesting that he might have fought back. This finding completely shattered earlier theories that Yu had simply fallen or collapsed. Instead, it painted a horrifying picture that he had endured a physical struggle before his passing. Public outrage hit new heights. Celebrities, fellow actors, and influencers began speaking out, many posting black and white photos of Yu with captions like, "Gone too soon," or "May truth come to light." Some even risked backlash from powerful figures in the industry by calling for deeper scrutiny into what they described as a network of silence surrounding the entertainment world. Music intensifies softly. Then came another twist: leaked messages, allegedly from a group chat involving individuals who attended the party. The screenshots, while unverified, appeared to show conversations about keeping quiet and handling things before morning. Whether authentic or fabricated, these messages spread like wildfire, amplifying the sense of conspiracy and cover-up. By this point, the story was no longer just a celebrity tragedy. It had become a nationwide reckoning. Discussions about exploitation, toxic fame culture, and the pressure of maintaining perfect public images flooded forums and talk shows. One comment that gained millions of likes said it best: "It's not just about Yu Menglong anymore. It's about every voice that was silenced." Music transitions to somber melody. Meanwhile, investigators confirmed that they were expanding their search. More witnesses were being questioned, and forensic teams were reviewing digital evidence, including security card records, message backups, and surveillance footage from adjacent streets. The authorities insisted they were approaching the case with caution, citing the massive public attention and the need for accurate results. Still, fans felt time was running out. They feared that delays or red tape could allow the perpetrators to escape justice. "We need answers now," one fan said during an online vigil live stream. "He deserves peace, and we deserve the truth." By late September, nearly 2 weeks after the incident, Yu's memorial service was held privately in his hometown. Photos later leaked, showing hundreds of fans standing outside, with flowers, candles, and letters. Some were seen crying openly, others holding signs that read, "We won't forget you," and "Justice for you." The atmosphere was heavy, not just with sadness, but with a quiet determination that this story would not fade away. Music fades slowly. Even now, as investigators continue their work, the internet remains divided between grief and rage. What began as a simple viral clip has become a complex web of mystery, heartbreak, and unanswered questions. And for millions of fans around the world, one thought continues to echo: someone knows what really happened to Yu Menglong. Soft music transitions out. To be continued. Weeks had passed since the world first saw that chilling CCTV footage of Yu Menglong, but the storm around his death showed no signs of slowing down. Each new piece of information seemed to bring more questions than answers. The investigation had officially entered its most crucial stage. And for the first time, whispers of what really happened that night began to emerge from behind closed doors. Authorities confirmed that several individuals connected to the gathering had been brought in for questioning, including multiple figures from the entertainment industry. While no official names were made public, insiders hinted that at least 3 of those detained were people Yu had trusted personally. Among them, one was described as a well-known actor who had appeared in several productions alongside him. This description was enough for online audiences to draw their own conclusions, reigniting the heated speculation surrounding SHIQI. Music deepened slightly. Fans' management released another statement, this time longer and more defensive, insisting that he had fully cooperated with authorities and had nothing to hide. They also warned of legal action against anyone spreading false accusations. But by then, public opinion had already turned volatile. Some fans believed he was innocent and unfairly targeted by rumor mills, while others saw the silence from officials as proof that something larger was being hidden. Meanwhile, investigative journalists started piecing together a rough timeline. According to witness interviews, Yu arrived at the event around 8:40 p.m. and was last seen conscious roughly an hour later. Guests described him as cheerful at first, but noticeably weak and pale after drinking from a glass handed to him by someone else. By 10 p.m., the atmosphere reportedly shifted, the music stopped, people whispered, and Yu was quietly escorted out of the main room. The now infamous CCTV footage appears to have captured what happened shortly afterward. Music softens, tone becomes reflective. As forensic teams continued their analysis, they discovered further evidence supporting the theory of intentional harm. The chemical traces found in Yu's system didn't match typical recreational substances. Instead, they indicated the presence of a sedative compound, often used to disorient or incapacitate. Investigators noted that this substance wasn't available over the counter, suggesting that whoever administered it had access to controlled materials. This revelation changed everything. The case was now officially being treated as a criminal investigation, and not a mere accident or act of negligence. A spokesperson for law enforcement said in a press briefing, "We are following the evidence and it will lead us to the truth." But even as authorities urged patience, the internet's collective outrage intensified. Fans from all corners of the world launched online campaigns demanding transparency. They flooded official accounts with comments, tagged government agencies, and organized coordinated digital protests. One popular hashtag read #truth for Yu Menglong, which gathered over 300 million views within days. Some fans went even further, using translation apps to spread Yu's story across different languages, ensuring that it reached audiences far beyond China. Major international outlets began covering the tragedy, with headlines describing it as an unfolding mystery of fame, betrayal, and injustice. Music transitions to a solemn piano melody. While investigators were busy collecting evidence, another leak hit social media audio recordings that allegedly captured parts of the night's conversations. In one of the clips, a man could be heard saying, "He's out. Just keep it quiet." Another voice responded, "Don't record anything." Though the authenticity of these recordings couldn't be verified, they circulated rapidly and reignited anger against those believed to have been involved. At the same time, testimonies from Yu's close friends began surfacing. One colleague revealed that Yu had been planning to distance himself from certain people in his circle due to uncomfortable experiences that had left him uneasy. Another friend described him as kind but too trusting, often giving people the benefit of the doubt even when they didn't deserve it. These stories painted a heartbreaking picture of an artist who loved his work, who cared deeply for others, but who may have been surrounded by people who didn't have his best interests at heart. Music swelled slowly. Then came the turning point. Late one evening, law enforcement announced that they had officially detained 4 suspects for further questioning. While they didn't release names, reports confirmed that the suspects were linked to the entertainment industry and had attended the same event as Yu. This announcement triggered an enormous reaction. Online hope for justice finally flickered amid the grief. Shortly after, Yu's family issued a statement of gratitude to the fans saying, "Your voices have given us strength. We will not stop until the truth is fully known." Those words became a rallying cry across the internet, shared millions of times. Still, some details remained painfully unclear. Who orchestrated the event? Why was Yu targeted? And how deep did the connections go? Insiders hinted that this wasn't just a random act, but possibly part of a wider web of industry exploitation, a dark side of fame that most audiences rarely see. Discussions about abuse of power, manipulation, and secrecy within the entertainment business grew louder. Journalists began comparing Yu's story to previous scandals that had been quickly buried, pointing out patterns that seemed too similar to ignore. For many, this case had become more than a mystery. It was a symbol of a system that desperately needed change. Music shifts to emotional crescendo. Amid all the revelations, fans kept Yu's memory alive. They continued holding vigils, both online and in person, leaving flowers at theaters where he once performed. Artists drew portraits, musicians composed songs, and viewers rewatched his shows to honor his legacy. Each tribute echoed the same sentiment: he deserved better. And then unexpectedly, another piece of evidence surfaced, this time from Yu's own device. Investigators found a draft message on his phone that had never been sent. It read, "I feel like I can't trust them anymore. Something doesn't feel right." The timestamp on the message matched the night of the gathering. This heartbreaking discovery left fans speechless. It was as though Yu had sensed danger, but never had the chance to reach out. The message, now part of the official investigation file, became one of the most haunting elements of the case. A final unfinished cry for help. Music slows, soft strings play. By late October, authorities confirmed that evidence from the autopsy, toxicology reports, and recovered communications had provided enough grounds to move the case forward. Charges were reportedly being prepared against several suspects. Though details remained sealed, the announcement brought a small measure of relief to fans and Yu's family alike. In a televised statement, the lead investigator summarized it best. "This is not the end, but it is the beginning of justice." Those words resonated deeply across the internet. Comment sections filled with tears, prayers, and promises never to let Yu's story fade away. Music pauses briefly, then returns gently. Months later, Yu Menglong's name continues to trend, not because of scandal, but because of the compassion his story inspired. People have used his case to raise awareness about the silent suffering so many face, about the pressures of fame, the cruelty of exploitation, and the importance of speaking out when something feels wrong. For countless fans, Yu is no longer just a beloved actor. He's become a symbol of truth and resilience. His story reminds people everywhere that silence can be deadly, and that empathy is powerful enough to spark change. Even now, long after the camera stopped rolling and the headlines have faded, his quiet words still echo, "Help me." Soft piano melody swells. Those two words have transcended the tragedy itself. They've become a message, one that fans repeat not only for Yu Menglong, but for anyone who has ever felt trapped, unheard, or unseen. It's a reminder that behind the spotlight, behind the fame, there are real people with real pain. Music rises to a gentle, hopeful close. And as the investigation inches closer to its final verdict, the world waits not just for justice, but for healing. Because no matter how dark that night was, Yu's story has already illuminated something much bigger: the unbreakable power of truth, love, and remembrance. Love and remembrance. Love and remembrance. Love and remembrance.